God is dead, according to the World Economic Forum, who have also declared that Jesus is fake news and that WEF leaders have acquired divine powers to rule over humanity. According to the WEF, a new one world religion has arrived and it unites all of humanity in worshipping at the altar of climate science, techno-communism and eugenics. If you find it hard to believe Klaus Schwab's WEF would go this far, you clearly haven't been paying attention to developments in recent times. Klaus Schwab's right-hand man, Yuval Noah Harari, has announced that the WEF has been so successful in its plans that it's acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. The blasphemy doesn't stop there. Harari also promises that the WEF will turn humans into gods.
Developing even bigger powers than ever before, we are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life.
The WEF is also increasingly hostile to Christianity and other major religions. If you read between the lines just a little, it's clear that the WEF is consciously attempting to supplant Jesus.
I mean, all this story about Jesus rising from the dead and being the Son of God, this is fake news.
Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over.
According to the WEF, Jesus is fake news, God is dead, and you do not have a soul. You are a hackable animal who does not have the capacity for free will. The World Economic Forum has spent decades quietly infiltrating democratically elected governments, penetrating cabinets, and wielding an outsized influence on the world from the corridors of Schwab's Swiss hideout in Davos.
So that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
These tyrants have now become arrogant and sure of their own success. They are no longer hiding in the shadows and pulling puppet strings from behind the curtain. According to Schwab, it is his role to shape the transformation of the world in the current period. And unsurprisingly, he admires the Chinese system of state-control authoritarianism.
On the G20, you were there meeting some of the leaders as well. Professor Schwab, what do you make of the result? Finally, they put something as a statement, and it seems quite positive with all the voices included.
I think it's positive. It's already positive through the fact that everybody agreed about the statement, which we haven't had the last years. Now the base has been formed, but we have to go one step further. We have to have a strategic mood. We have to construct the world of tomorrow. It's a systemic transformation of the world. So we have to define how the world should look like, which we want to come out of this transformation period. I respect China's achievements, which are tremendous over the last over 40 years. I think it's a role model for many countries.
With world leaders and cabinets firmly under their control, Western democracy has been decimated. Trudeau's Canada has become a wasteland of authoritarian control. Jacinda Ardern's New Zealand is arguably even more tightly controlled by the Davos technocrats. Why should they respect us and our human and constitutional rights if they see us as hackable animals incapable of free thought? Take a look at Brazil for a glimpse of the future. President Bolsonaro's supporters are protesting what they claim to be a wildly unfair and corrupt election. WEF favourite Lula, who hasn't even taken office yet, has already started enacting Klaus Schwab's playbook, freezing the bank accounts of protesters amid a chilling crackdown on freedom of speech and the right to protest peacefully. First Canada, now Brazil. Next, the United States. French billionaire Philippe Argilier claims he has 4 databases that will expose 38 individuals who control the whole world and run the shadow government. Bill Gates, who needs no introduction, is one of those 38 unelected individuals who control the daily lives of 8 billion people. According to Argilier, he can prove the Biden administration takes direct orders from this shadow government.
And altogether, 38 individuals run the daily lives of 8 billion people on Earth. Maria, the shadow government is the entity that is behind most, if not all, elected government that tell them what to do and what not to do based upon geopolitical agreements, most of them anchored in military abroad interventions. That's what the shadow government is. And I can tell you today that the Biden administration is under the control of the shadow government. I can confirm this without any hesitation based upon the information that I have.
If you want a sneak peek of the future under this shadow government, it's worth paying attention to Bill Gates' latest announcement. Gates has a history of playing God. Robert F. Kennedy warned us about this trait in Gates' psychology years ago. According to Kennedy Jr., the World Health Organization is conducting global social and medical experimentation in accordance with the vision of their mega donor, Bill Gates, and his religious faith that he can use technology, vaccines and GMO agriculture to make him the savior of all humanity. Gates' strategy of buying World Health Organization and purchasing control of US health officials like Tony Fauci and Deborah Birx means the Microsoft co-founder can now dictate global health policies affecting 7 billion people and to control the most intimate details of our lives, said Kennedy Jr. on his Instagram page. Just last week, Gates, in his role as false savior, was caught telling world leaders that it's time for death panels to decide who has the right to live and die.
Is spending $1 million on that last 3 months of life for that patient, would it be better not to lay off those 10 teachers and to make that trade-off in medical costs? But that's called the death panel, and you're not supposed to have that discussion. So of course,
that's an interesting thing you just said, which is just the last 3 months in life for one person or something, because we haven't had a discussion of how to allocate that money. It means we lay off 3 teachers to do so. I mean, in other words, we haven't had this type of allocation.
We're making that trade-off because of huge medical costs that are not examined to see which ones actually have no benefit whatsoever. And because of pension generosity, we will be laying off over 100,000 teachers, which, I'm very much against that. And the whole AFT will agree with me on that.
Of course, Gates' death panels have everything to do with the globalist elite's obsession with depopulation. This is the brutal, soulless world Gates and the shadow government at the World Economic Forum are determined to roll out as part of their Great Reset. We can't allow their evil religion to become the new normal.